Now is Brian Burke, Chief Growth Officer at Seco Logistics. Brian, how long-lasting is this effect going to be? I mean, if they were to get this thing dislodged, say, this weekend, is it still going to be bad?
Thanks for having me. That's a great question. Even if they were able to get it done and dislodged this weekend, which I don't think they will, I think it's still going to be another 7 to 10 days before they make any progress. The ripple effects are already starting to happen, and they're happening globally. And the reason for that is because we've already been going through a marathon of e-commerce ordering for the past, 9 to 12 months. And so there's already heightened ocean freight rates. Global shipping is more expensive, and equipment shortages persist throughout the world. So containers aren't available to ship products. And so this is really a domino effect that's already started to have an impact in increasing delays for consumers in Europe. But this will impact the U.S. because these containers all have to go back to Asia, and those same containers are then used to import goods to the U.S. and to Europe. So this is definitely going to be a long-lasting impact that's going to take months to work through.
I want to understand the mechanics of this. This reminds me a bit of the semiconductor shortages that we're seeing in tech right now. The thing about that is, while that's bad for some, it's kind of good for others, particularly chip makers who have high-value chips who can prioritize their highest margin items, and the customers who are so big, they have relationships, they can get their chips prioritized. Are there certain retailers, are there certain players in the global logistics market that are going to get their supply first and are going to be able to charge more for it?
Well, I think any importer, any retailer, any company right now that has options, they're going to be the ones that are going to benefit the most. And typically you have ocean shipping as an option, but air freight is also an option. And typically you'll see high-tech companies and fashion apparel companies that are able to leverage air freight more so than, let's say, furniture makers and manufacturers.
Because that stuff's heavy, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, if you're selling iPhones, it's hundreds of dollars, maybe 1,000 or more, and it's in a little box. But a couch, it's also $1,000, and it's not in a little box. I mean, we have to think about that, you're saying, because airlifting a couch is a lot more expensive than an iPhone.
Absolutely. And frankly, in the past 12 months, it's been kind of an upside-down world, and especially in the past 6 months, we've actually been air freighting items that typically would not ship via air freight, but you can't do that at scale, and you can't do that consistently and be able to protect your margins. And right now, we have clients that are running out of inventory. Some of our clients are out of their top-selling SKUs already, or they're expecting their inventory to be completely depleted by May. So even before the Suez Canal, a lot of companies were experiencing shortages and back orders, or at least preparing for back orders. This is only going to make that situation worse.
So the pricing on air freight, profitability, I don't know. Is that going to be seeing a boom over the next, maybe for the rest of the year?
Well, it all depends on how quickly you want to sell and what your inventory carrying costs are, because the equations of when you would switch from ocean to air have been changing because ocean rates are so high and air freight rates have been fluctuating. But ultimately, because it's taken so long with the delays, and again, this is before the Suez Canal issue, the lead time had been extending for so long. That's why when you go to a store, you want to buy furniture or an appliance, the lead times now are extending to 2 to 3 months. So if you need to get your product in and you're willing to pay maybe 2 or 3x to get it in order to get it on the shelf in 5 days versus, let's say, 3 months, that equation is a no-brainer for some companies. That equation doesn't typically exist in a non-pandemic time, but these numbers are constantly moving right now, and it's moving in the favor of a lot of companies pivoting to air freight in order to meet demand and keep production lines going.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.